This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, July 10th, 1999, an event transcended the world. It was the final of the FIFA Women's World Cup, only held for the third time in history. In 1991 and 1995, it happened. The Americans hosted this event and won the whole thing. In fact, it was the most successful Women's World Cup in terms of attendance, TV ratings, and public interest. The 99 edition had 16 teams instead of 12 from the 95 thing. It was basically in large football venues because of demand following the 1996 Olympic tournament. The average attendance was over 37,000, and the total attendance was 1.19 million. The record stood until 2015, when Canada smashed it, and they earned a profit of $4 million. So anyway, this was a giant event and all that. China hosted the first one in 91, and Sweden had the second one. The Americans were in a fight with Australia and Chile to host the 99 Women's World Cup. Kind of weird how Chile is, but basically the Americans were the sole applicant left. So anyway, they would play in large stadiums. LA's Rose Bowl, San Francisco had Stanford Stadium before it was renovated. Washington had Jack Kent Cooke Stadium, basically aka FedEx Field. New York/New Jersey had Giants Stadium. Of course, Giants Stadium doesn't exist anymore. Chicago had Soldier Field before it was renovated. Boston's Foxborough Stadium before it was torn down for Gillette Stadium. Portland Civic Stadium, and San Jose Spartan Stadium. So anyway, 16 teams would qualify. Ghana, Mexico, North Korea, and Russia would make their Women's World Cup debuts and all that. 9 of the remaining 12 teams have played in all 3 editions since 1991. So anyway, it was huge. There was a lot of marketing and all that. In Group A, the U.S. would deal with Nigeria, North Korea, and Denmark. And the Americans only conceded once to those 3 teams. Nigeria took second place based on their 2-1 mark. North Korea looked decent, but the Americans hung it. Group B saw Brazil, Germany, Italy, and Mexico face each other. They called themselves the Group of Death and all that. Mexico was a newcomer. Italy was the quarterfinals in 91, for the women's, obviously. Olympic semifinals, Brazil, and the 95 runners-up, Germany. But Brazil looked very good and all that, blowing up Mexico. Mexico would give up 15 goals in 3 games. Not really that good of an idea. The funny thing is that, Mexico gave up only twice to Italy. As Brazil and Germany were qualifying. Group C saw our Canadian women go at it with Norway, Russia, and Japan. Norway was a decent team, and they were the defending women's champion. Russia shocked a lot of people by going 2-1. Everyone thought Canada and Japan would be fighting for that second spot in the knockout stages, but Canada just, sucked. Only scoring 3 times. They tied Japan, and then they got crushed by Norway. And then they lose to Russia? Jesus Murphy. Anyway, Group D saw China, Sweden, Australia, and Ghana face each other. China and Sweden were the class of the group, and no surprise, they both went to the knockout stages. In the knockout stages, China took care of Russia 2-0, like almost always. Norway beat their Nordic neighbor Sweden 3-1. The Americans had a tough time with Germany, only winning 3-2, and Brazil won on a golden goal against Nigeria. It would have been weird if Nigeria actually ended up beating Brazil. Anyway, the Americans beat Brazil 2-0 in the semis, and China crushed Norway, the defending champions, 5-0. Third place. And all that. What happened? Brazil won on penalties over Norway. And then it was time for the Women's World Cup final. It was time for the championship. The U.S. would play China on July 10th, 1999, on a Saturday on ABC/CTV, because CTV simulcast it. Anyway, there were two major powerhouses and all that. The United States were the 91 champions. China was trying to foil the Americans thing. So anyway, yeah, it was hard to believe. The Americans looked good, so did China. Americans had only conceded 3 times in their 5 games headed into the final, whereas China conceded twice. And obviously it was 0-0. They called it a tap-it game. China had a chance to win the game in extra time, but they failed. So it was time for the shootout. All that. The Americans got their first 3 with Overbeck, Fawcett, and Lilly scoring. China's third kicker was Liu Yang, and she missed as Brianna Scurry saved the day. So everyone shot. The Americans' 5th shot would come from Brandy Chastain. And she popped it home, the winning penalty, and the famous sports bra celebration. And all that. It was kind of like kicking and screaming, like the box cover. And there was once a episode of the David Wayans hit sitcom, My Wife and Kids, that little Katie scored a goal, and she ripped off her shirt to have a sports bra. So anyway, the Americans members were Brianna Scurry in net, the back 4 of Fawcett, Overbeck, Sombrero, and Chastain, Brandy Chastain, that is. And then a middle 3 of Christine Lilly, Julie Foudy, and Michelle Akers, with the front 3 of Mia Hamm, Cindy Parlow, and Tiffany Milbrett. The Americans made substitutions. Shannon McMillan came in for Parlow. Sarah Whalen came in for Michelle Akers, and Trisha Venturi went in for Milbrett. Meanwhile, China had several names and all that. Obviously, I'm not good at pronouncing those names, so I can't really say it. So anyway, the Americans finally won their second Women's World Cup final. Brandy Chastain's celebration was on the covers of Sports Illustrated, Time, and Fairey's newspapers the following day. Some say it was basically disrespectful and inappropriate. The Chinese media said that Scurry's save on Liu in the third shooter actually was ruined because she stepped ahead of the line before Liu kicked the ball. Scurry said she did intentionally step over the line, but people always do it. This tournament would actually be huge because it created greater interest in women's soccer, particularly the U.S. team, and broke lots of records and all that. 90,000 people went to see a women's sporting event. So anyway, the final peaked at 40 million on U.S. broadcast TV, which was actually unsurpassed till the 2014 Women's World Cup and the 2014 Men's World Cup final and the 2015 Women's World Cup final, which was amusing in its own sense. So yeah, it was a fantastic moment. All that. Maybe Canada's. Oh, The 2015 one will not be in because it would have been July 5th. Oh well. C'est la vie. So anyway, yeah. Women's soccer was huge in the US after that. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.